Hello all, good afternoon. Myself is Vigneshwari, Assistant Professor in the Department of Electronics and Communication Engineering from SNS College of Technology. So today I am going to take the topic on interrupt controller from the subject microprocessors and microcontroller. So do watch my previous two videos on memory interfacing and also serial communication interface. So today, what happens when multiple devices like keyboard, printer, timer and communication module send interrupt requests to the CPU at the same time? Can the CPU handle all of them efficiently on its own? So here the challenges are multiple devices generating interrupts simultaneously. CPU cannot prioritize the interrupts efficiently alone, and interrupt conflicts may cause the data loss. Also, increased CPU overhead. So, this creates the need for a structured interrupt management system, and that is where the interrupt controller plays a vital role. An interrupt controller is a hardware device that manages multiple interrupt requests and sends them the signal to the CPU in an organized manner. So one such commonly used programmable interrupt controller is Intel 8259. So the 8259, it manages multiple interrupt inputs, assigns a priority to them based on the vector table, and sends the highest priority interrupt to the CPU. So by reducing the CPU overhead by this way. Instead of the CPU directly handling all the interrupt line, here the interrupt controller, it filters and prioritizes them based on the vector table. So what are all the interrupt controller components? Now let us understand the internal block of the interrupt controller. The blocks are interrupt request register IRR, interrupt mask register IMR, in-service register ISR, priority resolver and data bus buffer. Now let us explore each component in detail. The first one is interrupt request register. It stores all the incoming interrupt requests. Interrupt mask register. It allows selective disabling or masking of the interrupt. In-service register. It keeps track of the interrupt currently being serviced. Priority resolver. It determines which interrupt has the highest priority. Data bus buffer act as an interface between the controller and the system data bus. All these components work together to ensure efficient interrupt management. Next comes is the effective control system. An effective interrupt control system, it performs the following functions. The first one could access multiple interrupt inputs, assigns the priority based on the level in the vector table, send only the highest priority interrupt to the processor, allows masking of unwanted interrupt. So this prevents the system crash and ensures smooth real-time operation. So modern interrupt controller provide advanced features like programmable interrupt masking, automatic interrupt acknowledgement, cascading multiple controllers, improved reliability and faster response time. So in larger system, multiple interrupt controllers can be cascaded to handle up to 64 interrupt line based on the cascaded lines CL0 to CL3, where all these 4 lines can be used to handle such 64 interrupt lines. Example, keyboard and display system. So let us understand this with a simple example. In keyboard display system, keyboard generate the interrupt when a key is being pressed. And the display controller may generate interrupt for refresh. Timer may generate periodic interrupt. Now the interrupt controller, it receives all these requests, prioritize them and sends them to appropriate interrupt to the CPU. This ensures no data is lost and no device is being ignored. So what are all the interrupts in 8085? The 8085 handles 5 hardware interrupt, which is trap, RST 7.5, 6.5, 5.5 and interrupt. Priority order will be in this trap, RST 7.5, 6.5, 5.5 and finally with INTR, where trap is non-maskable and INTR is maskable and has lowest priority. So the peripheral devices like interrupt lines, interrupt controller, CPU and ISR, this has been structured in flow so that it ensures systematic handling of interrupt requests. So let's quickly discuss through the quiz. Which interrupt has the highest priority? It is trap. And which interrupt is non-maskable? It is also trap. Thank you.